Hello, everyone. We're very excited to tell you about the Capstone project we did, where we sought to transform waste management at Dulles and Reagan airports here in Washington, D.C. We will start by introducing our team and our client. Then we will go over our project overview and details, as well as the two main activities we did as part of our work, the waste audit and the airport tours. And finally, we will lay out how our findings create value for zero waste solutions and the airport authorities, and wrap up with some recommendations and key takeaways. Here's our team.
Hi, I'm Ari.
I'm Trish.
I'm Cecilia.
I'm Yiming.
And I'm Felipe.
So before we answer who is ZWS, we must ask, what is zero waste? So zero waste is the design principle of eliminating or completely getting rid of waste from original design. Zero Waste Solutions is a California-based, woman-owned waste management group with clients from coast to coast, ranging from colleges and universities, airports, and the Pentagon. Zero Waste Solutions aims to completely mitigate waste from any of their clients. This means reclaiming any organics or recyclables from going to landfill.
So I'm excited to walk you through an overview of our project that is focused on waste reduction strategies at both DCA and IAD airports. We'll start by looking at the project scope first. This project focuses on reducing waste by targeting two key challenges, which are landfill diversion rates and contamination rates. To address these challenges, we developed three core initiatives that focus on driving meaningful behavioral change across all airport stakeholders. First, the recycling program focuses on improving recycling infrastructure such as bin placement and signage to boost these landfill diversion rates. Second, we proposed the implementation of a food donation program to divert organic waste by redirecting unused eligible food to local organizations and supporting the local community around DC. And third, we proposed a targeted educational campaign that is meant to train and engage all airport stakeholders and our target audience, which are airport staff and vendors mainly. And together, these efforts aim to create a measurable impact on how waste can be managed at both airports. This project goes beyond environmental impact. It also has the potential to reduce waste landfill costs and position both airports as leaders in sustainable airport operations.
So to begin our project, we wanted to establish a baseline research. We then wanted to look at the key stakeholders and then figure out a recommendation plan on what they needed. So first, we looked at the MWAA's 2019 sustainability report, just to understand what the best practices would be for airports. We then looked at our key stakeholders, and then we created a survey, which we can see on the side, that asked questions to gauge interest and make sure that they would be willing to do this. And lastly, we looked at best practices across other airports like SFO and Denver to see what could actually feasibly be implemented. So our initial project was introduced as a composting project, but after our airport tours, what we found was alarming. We had to switch to recycling because within the recycling bins and within the trash bins, there was so much contamination that nothing was actually being sent to recycling. For this, the airports are losing a ton of money because if airports aren't recycling, they're actively losing money. For airports, recycling is free. However, sending things to landfill or incineration is an added cost. Not recycling doesn't just hurt the environment, but it's an unnecessary financial cost that's avoidable.
So our updated project scope centers around three key initiatives. First, the training materials initiative. These are meant to help staff better understand how waste management can be practiced at both airports, as well as creating a uniform waste management methodology across both airports. Second, the donation programs are meant to repurpose food and clothing and support the local community by partnering with local organizations. And thirdly, the recycling program is meant to improve diversion and reduce landfill waste costs. So here are some examples of the educational materials that we created for staff and vendors specifically. On the left is the DCA Recycling Guide, which outlines the goals of the program as well as responsibilities of the staff and some common do's and don'ts regarding recycling. On the left is a guide designed to reduce confusion along what can be recycled and what cannot be recycled. And these tools further support behavioral change and reduce contamination at the source.
So moving on to the airport tours, as Ari highlighted earlier, these visits were very important for us to understand how waste management works in such complex environments. By talking to the staff on the ground and going around the sites, we were able to identify the key issues that Zero Waste Solutions keeps running into. And this information helped us create recommendations that were relevant for the company. We found contamination to be a widespread issue at both airports and the greatest barrier against recycling. The main sources or causes that we identified were sparse recycling container availability, inadequate signage, insufficient staff training, high employee turnover, and limited oversight from airport authorities and Zero Waste Solutions personnel. I will now pass it on to Trish, who will talk about the other crucial activity at this for this project, which is the waste audit.
Thank you, Felipe. So this was a really other great part of the project where we were actually on site, suited up. Everyone's new home screen here. So we needed to establish a new baseline waste audit from the 2019 sustainability reports for both of these airports. This both helped ZWS and Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority determine kind of where they are with their sustainability goals, as well as what they need to do. We were split into two groups, and we went through about 10 bags for each airport, and we'll get into those results now. So the waste audit did reveal kind of our worst fears was that a compost program was not going to be viable. It was about 50% at DCA and about 80% waste at IAD. So this means that was kind of like the levels of trash that we were looking at, where there were other categories, but trash was the most prevalent. However, this kind of did reinforce where we needed to shift our initial focus. So we developed a food donation program. Give your foods a second destination from these foods that we found here: Lucky Charms, unsealed, unopened water bottles, perfectly good to be reused. And we also developed a clothing donation program called Lift Your Luggage, basically, where you're at the airport, your bag is overweight, and you're gonna probably throw out clothes if you can't take them with you. So instead, we are kind of able to repurpose these clothes that were thrown away and donate them to local communities. And these are just some of the examples of the posters that we've created for both of the donation programs. Give your foods a second destination and lighten your luggage, lift a life.
Coming next is how our initiatives are able to create values for our clients. In the operational efficiency and cost savings, like the clients will get immediate saving of 4 cents per ton on the cost. And improved stakeholder engagement and public image will position themselves as the industry leader in the East Coast for reaching zero waste reduction in the airports. The regular compliance will prepare them to meet any future mandates from the government. Our strategic recommendations for our clients: first will be the regular stakeholder check-ins. Second would be piloting new waste streams. Third would be enhanced data transparency. And fourth, adapt infrastructure based on audit insights. And before we wrap things up, each of us will like to share our main takeaways from this project.
Yeah, my main takeaway was that on-site practices are going to differ a lot from expectations, but small changes can lead to major improvements.
My main takeaway was that buy-in is essential to drive meaningful behavioral change for these programs to be successful, and employees are a key component to the program's critical success.
Mine was sustainable design may not always reflect what we want in the moment, but it lays the essential groundwork for the future we envision. I was originally really excited about making this a compost project, but I realized that we really did need to shift our focus to recycling to one day have a really great sustainable compost program in the future.
What stood out to me was finding out that food donation could be an effective strategy to minimize organic waste reduction at airports.
My main takeaway is how important data plays a role in this project. It's able to identify like the key problems, and we can like solve it, like, targeting it. This is all we have. Thank you, guys.